Welcome to the Editor's Note Comics Podcast.
I think that this world, it needs men that are willing to make the hard call.
Central Maine's best comics podcast, by default.
Ain't no thing like me except me.
Here are your hosts, Zach and Jared.
I'm gonna have to come with you. No. When do we start?
Happy 4th of July. It's that time again.
America, baby. Yes.
As we do every single 4th of July for however many years we've been doing this.
We run around naked with sparklers taped to our asses.
I mean, unknown number of years at this point. I don't know.
I feel like you didn't dispute that's what we do.
Look, there have been fireworks in my yard every year since I've owned this house.
That's right. I got to go buy some fireworks for Thursday.
God.
Thanks for reminding me. Remember the time that one that got shot off into your neighbor's yard?
Yeah, I do.
Great. It was amazing.
I thought I was going to set their house on fire, and I was very embarrassed. Yeah, I do remember that, actually.
You were waging war on your neighbors. That's how much more American can we get than that?
As we do for every 4th of July, we've done this for 3 or 4 years. Unknown, I don't even know anymore. I think this is like episode 170-something.
Wow, we're making our way to the world today.
It might be 170 even. I don't know.
That's incredible.
So break that down into years. But we're going to do a Captain America story, one of the dumbest that I could think of.
Oh, it was the dumbest you could find, too. There was.
It's exceptionally stupid.
Yeah, it was not good.
We're going to do comic book pop culture news. Not a ton, though, because San Diego Comic-Con is coming up in a couple of weeks, so there's almost no news. That's because they're holding on to everything.
Hold on loosely.
This week in comic history, a question of yours and sports. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
I thought of all the things.
Good job. I'm proud of you.
All right. You ready for something we don't normally do?
Sure. What do we not normally do?
We don't need a theme for this because it's probably never going to come up ever again.
Okay. I'm listening.
It's time to talk about Broadway. We're doing Broadway.
Yes. Please tell me about the Kong show.
Broadway.
I want to know about Kong.
It is really fantastic.
Okay.
It's a musical. It's really fantastic whenever they're not singing.
Isn't that the point of a musical?
It's a really sporadic musical.
Oh, they don't sing very much?
They sing sometimes.
Just not like a whole lot.
But if you've listened to this show, you've heard us talk about many Kong things. You know that I'm a big fan of the movies and property and all that stuff, and I got to go see the show on Broadway. Started in Australia, I think. Now it's in New York, the city it should be in, and I don't know, probably don't sing.
But again, it's a musical, so there should be singing.
Yeah, they probably shouldn't.
How were the special effects?
Fantastic.
Was there a guy in a gorilla suit like in
No, there were
Kong vs. Godzilla?
There were 5 dudes working the animatronics and like another 20 working the body.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean...
So it was pretty big?
Yeah, no, he was massive. There was a lot of wire work happening. He got to fight a giant snake. It was cool. I mean, he didn't get to snap a dinosaur's mouth and contemplate life and death, but as he is wont to do.
Yeah, yes, as one has want to do. I would see that, yep.
But I mean, boy, once he was like on stage, like they don't hide it. They tease it a little bit, but they're like, "Look at this. This is amazing. This is why you're here." I'm like, "I agree. It's why I'm here."
I came to see this. Not the singing, but to see this. Fair enough.
I mean, I've seen a lot of shows on Broadway, and I've seen some with some very big puppeteering. This is by far the best kind of puppeteering I've ever seen on a show.
Better than Lion King?
I've never seen Lion King.
Oh, okay, me neither.
It seems too touristy.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen a good Julie Taymor show or two. She did Lion King.
Oh, okay.
In some movies.
I was just trying to sound couth.
Yeah, but no, it was whenever he's on screen, boy, he dies a violent death. He takes about 3,000 bullets to the face.
That would be effectively, yes.
They start to shoot him a bit, and they have him on top of the Empire State Building. He's getting shot, and they've peeled off a few pieces, which are probably Velcro, just like showing some blood or whatnot. And bullets are done by just like these pinpoint lights. It's like bam, bam, bam. And then they have this rear projection. They have the planes coming along, and they start shooting him. And then the shooting continues, and it all just moves up to the head. I'm like, they shot him like 3,000 times on the head. He is very dead. He ain't coming back from this.
So 'twas bullets that killed the beast.
No, how they end the show, they do there's a random line saying like, "Beauty killed the beast," like a few songs before. I'm like, oh, we're gonna put this. Great.
Okay. But
they end the show, they're like, "Can you feel the wonder? Do you feel the wonder?" I'm like,
I feel like I need to get to the exit.
Do you think that's the point of the show? Do you think that's what the story is? Do you feel the wonder? I get that he's the 8th wonder of the world, and you're taking a word from it, but do you think it was about Do you feel the wonder?
Did you have giggle moments like, oh, that's cool?
Story-wise, there are a couple. They changed the story a little bit in a couple spots, and a couple of them are very good.
Mm-hmm.
There's some good updated moments, but when they're like, "Do you feel the wonder?" I'm like, I mean, I'm on Broadway, so that's fun, and I'm watching a show, and there's the wonder of the theater. Are you just tooting your own horn now? Because I mean, you're fine, but you're not that good. Don't suck your own dick that hard.
Was it worth the money?
Yes.
Are you glad you did?
Oh,
it?
100%.
Then there you go. That's all you need.
Do you feel the wonder?
That's going to weave its way through this show. I'm telling you right now.
Oh, God. That was a weird ending song. I was just like, it would have been better off if you just ended it when he died.
Did you feel the wonder?
Not the way they meant it.
Oh, that's
whatever they were talking about. I was like, this is weird. It's a weird way to go about things. But that's our first and probably last Broadway review. Pretty fantastic monkey, though.
Yeah.
All right. From there, oh, by the way, I'm closed on the 4th of July. From there, as we do each and every week. Oh, do you want to do your thing?
No, we can talk about it later.
Why not? Why not bring it up?
We can talk about it later, and that way it's the last thing people remember from this show.
As we do.
Actually, I'm going to tell them now, because in case the show goes bad and they turn it off, I don't want them.
Great.
Brand new podcast. We finally launched it, the Coach's Room podcast. We're on Podbean and Stitcher. We're waiting for our approval from iTunes.
By the time the show goes up, iTunes will be through.
Yes, iTunes and also Spotify. And Amazon, so we're on all your favorite podcast platforms, or will be by the end of the week. So,
are you on Blueberry?
Yes.
Who cares?
I think we're on Blueberry.
Who cares about that one?
So yeah, give it a listen. Look up the Coach's Room podcast, or if you follow me on Twitter at Junior Rich, I've linked to it a couple of times onto our Stitcher account.
You talk about your own personal history.
Yes, I do. We talk about our coaching philosophy a little bit. It's me and my buddy Brandon. We talk a little bit about some main sports stories, and we talk about things that really kind of revolve around coaching. But if you're a diehard, dedicated listener to this podcast, I just ask that you give it a listen, a rate, or review, subscribe, help bump us up, and get us out there a little bit.
Are you going to talk about the roids?
No, probably not.
You should. Be interesting.
Well, I mean, we're just getting started. There's a lot of things we're going to talk about. Our next
controversy should be first.
Our next episode, which will come out not this week, but we're going to record it next week. It'll be out the beginning of the 3rd week of July. Involves a murder mystery in Maine sports. So it's worth tuning into.
Was it with the wrench in the coat room?
No.
We are moving on to the pop culture news.
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
It's time for the news.
That was 10 minutes. Okay, cool.
Yeah, we got to...
Well, there's not a lot of news this week because
Good.
all the news is waiting for San Diego. But let's start with Ghostbusters has added, I'm going to call him the most charming man in America, Paul Rudd.
Okay.
He put out a video on Instagram of him in front of the Ghostbusters Firehouse. I think it's called Hook and Ladder.
I think so, yeah.
As a man who was just in New York last week. But yeah, Paul Rudd is in Ghostbusters. I think the role that was announced for him is going to be the teacher of the up-and-coming students, the Finn Wolfhards, and basically anyone else who was in Stranger Things. Still haven't seen it.
You haven't seen Stranger Things?
No. Have you?
No, I haven't.
Okay, great. So don't judge me.
I'm not judging. I thought you would have.
It's just one of those things. I got sick of people like, oh, you got to watch it. It's like,
you know what? Next rainy day, I'm going to binge it.
All 3 seasons?
I'll start with 1 and see how we go from there.
Yeah, Rudd's and Ghostbusters. Speaking of things that are happening on things you can watch, what a weird segue.
Yeah, that was really oddly phrased.
Neil Gaiman's Sandman is heading to Netflix, generally touted as one of the greatest comic book series of all time, and I've never read all of it.
Oh, wow.
It's about 75 issues. There's some spin-off series, but it's one of those things, everything I've read about, I'm like, you just got to get through like the first 2 arcs and then it gets good. I have had trouble getting through the first 2 arcs.
Is it just kind of slow plotting?
I have tried a couple of times, and I know based on reputation that it's supposed to be fantastic.
So why can't you bring yourself to get through it?
There's a lot of other things I could read.
Okay.
that aren't slow.
But this apparently, as you said, is one of the best of all time.
It is supposed to be one of the best of all time. I have read the beginning. I have read the beginning many, many times. I just have trouble getting over the hump of the beginning.
Well, power through, man.
Apparently I have to if it's coming to Netflix, but that's a big deal, especially if AT&T is supposedly doing all this, because Sandman was previously through Vertigo, which is through DC, which is now owned by AT&T. They're supposedly working on their own streaming service, but if they're going to do something on Netflix with one of the all-time greats, with Neil Gaiman's involvement, who is, a writer of novels and comics and scripts and all-around good dude.
we'll get on that then.
Well, yeah, I know. I feel like I need to read Sandman. I guess is the takeaway here.
I'll be your accountability buddy.
I need to get over the hump of the beginning that's supposed to be not that interesting.
Well,
I've only read the not that interesting bits.
then get to the interesting bits.
I haven't done it yet. Speaking of things that are coming back, I guess Sandman's never really left. Wasn't a great segue.
You're working on it. You're getting better. Eventually, by episode 200, you'll be good at it.
In October, Marvel Zombies is back. This started off by a series by Robert Kirkman, creator of The Walking Dead. I think we did that one Halloween.
We may have.
We probably
It's possible.
did.
I think so.
I think we did. But then it did multiple other miniseries, and everything outside of the first one is shit.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not good.
That's usually generally implied when you say that about something.
They did like 4 of them. They're not very good, not very entertaining. But they're going to try and reboot it, so I assume that means a full reboot. They've also done a Marvel Zombie. That was fine. But yeah, we'll see. Marvel Zombies is coming back in October, which makes a lot of sense because it's a profitable series. Just don't continue the overly complicated universe, dimension hopping, everything that wasn't the first series.
I mean, why not?
But speaking of Robert Kirkman...
Space zombies. Give me some space zombies.
But we're going to talk about The Walking Dead that's coming out this week. Number 193. I'm not going to spoil the content of it, but I will talk about what it is.
Okay.
So something really cool happened this week.
Yeah?
The Walking Dead is done.
Really?
And what happened with it? There was no announcement.
They just ended? It was the end?
Yeah.
Wow.
And what even beyond this, like there were fake solicitations for additional issues that I put orders in for.
Wow. So they kind of baited you,
100%. The only downside of this is a lot of comics websites, and by a lot I mean every single one of them, has said The Walking Dead ends this week, but versus there's a pretty long letter at the end of it from Robert Kirkman, who is just like, I don't like knowing when things are ending. I don't like thinking about the third act of a movie. I want a story to stand on its own 2 feet. And then of course everyone's like, it's ending.
Oh, so
glad you got your clicks, assholes.
Wow, that's very rude of them.
Yeah.
Jerks.
But isn't that crazy? I mean, this is like a top 10 book every month. It's one of my bestsellers, so I'm kind of sad it's gone. But just ending a story on your own terms and going, I did 193 of these.
Why not get to 200? Why not buck up, do 7 more, and end at 200?
Because that's a problem with a lot of modern comics, is just overstretching things that don't need to be overstretched. Just ending it and saying, this is the story.
This is a story I wanted to tell. Boom, done. I guess I can appreciate that.
Yeah, and just the idea of also Kirkman's done a couple of things of big time fake outs. He secretly released a series last year that comic shops got for free. He just didn't want to announce he was doing a new series. So he's always about trying to subvert expectations in big ways that no one else is doing. So I 100% respect him for what he was trying to do, and I hope it wasn't spoiled for people who wanted it, who wouldn't want it to be spoiled for. But yeah, so I mean that's been going on since 2001. There's always a big speculator market out there of do you think this is going to be worth something? And my answer is always if I knew that, I'd play the lottery. I don't know what's going to be worth what. But Walking Dead went for $2.99 18 years ago. I think it was 2001. And that book is worth a few grand now. It's just this small little indie thing that blew up in a big way, and ending it on your own terms and sneakily ending it on your own terms.
Be like, oh, by the way.
That's pretty awesome.
I like it. It's just mic drop. Yeah.
Oh, 100%. I mean, even I read a good chunk of The Walking Dead. I am deeply nowhere near caught up to it.
Well, at least you know where it ends.
Yeah, I'm very aware of where it ends. It was just one of those things. I'm like, good on you. Tell your story, tell it on your terms. How often does that really happen in storytelling?
Not very, because you're oh, it's making us money. Push to make more story.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts. So I totally.
It almost feels like in school you need to write a 5-page essay, and in the first 3 pages you run out of stuff, so it's 2 pages of crap.
You know what you do? Hey kids, listen up.
Double space.
Oh, you don't double. I mean, the double spacing is there. You know what you do if you want to add a couple of lines? If they're you need to do this many pages. Increase the size of your punctuation.
Really?
You could do a find and replace on size. If you increase the size of your periods, if you increase the size of your commas, your semicolons, your colons, all that stuff, that adds up in a big way and adds a lot of space in there.
Now I'm going to go back through and look at papers that are written for me and do
that.
Because everything is done digitally now, too. So like all on like Google Classroom and Google Docs. So
Yeah, if you up the size of, especially like periods and commas are a little more obvious. So I don't know if I do, but periods are a definite way to increase the length of a paper. If you up those like from like a 12 to a 16. Oh, that's a good one.
Wow, that's something that you wouldn't like. Someone wouldn't look to see.
Exactly.
As long as it's not bigger than the letter itself.
Exactly. And that's how you cheat on papers with Zach. Don't ring a bell for that. But I don't know. That's just a cool thing that they did this week, and I totally commend them for it.
Good for them.
I'm sad it's gone because I like the money.
All right.
What else happened this week in the world of comics? Nothing.
There. That was easy.
There's technically one more story. I'll say it fast. Brian Michael Bendis' Legion of Superheroes will be connected to Doomsday Clock. I didn't do a story, or I didn't do a theme song.
Okay.
There we go.
Whatever.
That's the end of that.
Can't have it all.
From there, we'll move on to a thing that I don't have a theme song for yet, unless I do. This week in comics history. Let's knock some first appearances out of the way. This is a massive week.
Yeah.
Some of the things that happened this week in comics history.
It is the 4th of July week. Yeah, it makes sense.
It has nothing to do with anything, but...
Freedom, baby. That's what it has to do with.
Some of the first appearances. Brother Voodoo first appeared in Strange Tales number 163 in 1973. Speaking of Sandman, the character of Death appeared in number 8 in 1989. Darkhawk, who was played by Sylvester Stallone in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, first appeared in Defenders number 27 in 1975. Ego, the Living Planet, a Jack Kirby creation, appeared in Thor number 132 in 1966. Played by Kurt Russell, main resident himself.
I like it.
Crypto the Superdog arrived on Earth in this fictional date. It doesn't have a year attached to it. It's just this week because, sliding time scale.
Yes, it's just this time.
Crypto was sent off into space before Superman, like a Russian space dog, to test out if this technology would work, but he was knocked off course. Then eventually he found Earth and met up with a teenage Superman where they became the best of friends. That's a dog that can fly with a cape who can shoot lasers out of his eyes.
Man's best friend.
Superman's best friend.
Yeah. So he's the Superboy.
Also on a fictional date, Clark was hired at the Daily Planet on June 30th.
Wow. Good for
Clark Kent got a job.
He's been there for some time. Benefits, he's holding out for a management position.
Dark Horse Comics came out this week. Their first comic was published as Dark Horse Presents number 1 in 1986. Still going strong. Solid ass company.
I'm older than Dark Horse Comics.
Barely.
But I am. By 2 years.
Good for you. Another first appearance. This is a biggie. The first Marvel Muslim superhero, Kamala Khan, known as Miss Marvel, first appeared in 2003. She is the defender of Jersey City. And as someone who was just in Jersey City...
Was it well defended?
I love New Jersey with all of my heart and soul, as passionately as I can, and Jersey City is terrible. Don't defend Jersey City.
Did you go to Hoagie Heaven while you're Haven?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah? How many times? Just once?
Yes, just once. That was my whole sustenance for that day. I bought one sandwich and it was enough. Yeah, so don't defend Jersey City, I guess is the point of this.
Okay.
But the biggies that happened this week in history, my God, there are 3 massive ones.
All right, I'm listening.
This week in 1962, Stan Lee and Jack Kirby debuted X-Men number 1.
Wow. That is big.
Not a great series initially until 1975, but
still.
The kernels were set. The seeds were planted back in 1962. 1 year later, in 1963, Avengers number 1 hit the stands, also by Stan and Jack. Avengers number 1 has an interesting history, though.
Yes.
I don't know if I've ever talked about this on the show or not.
No.
Daredevil number 2 was supposed to come out, but Bill Everett, the artist, is a big old drunk. It kind of killed him, kind of big old drunk. Like, not a fun alcoholic.
Oh, like a
really bad kind of alcoholic. But,
all right.
But because Daredevil 2 was late due to his heavy drinking, Kirby had to throw together a really quick issue, which was the Avengers. So the Avengers was born out of Bill Everett's alcoholism, and Jack Kirby had to go, I guess a few of them.
All right. Let me just whip this up real
Yeah,
quick.
isn't that crazy?
The little known story, I mean, probably well known, but like the weird.
Actually, that only came out a few years ago. It's a fairly recent story that's come out. Definitely within the last 10 years. I want to say within the last 5.
Weird twists of fate.
Yeah, because Daredevil number 2 was delayed by Bill Everett, who also did not return for issue 2, I don't believe, off the top of my head. Daredevil's co-created by Stan Lee and Bill Everett, who did one whole issue. He did earlier stuff. I think he did the Submariner, who was Marvel's first superhero.
I could go for a good sub right now.
So he was back. You could go for a good hoagie.
Yes.
he was like 1940s old school, and he was there through the 60s. But yeah, unfortunately, he was kind of a terrible alcoholic. And the Avengers was born out of it.
And Tony Stark was the leader of the
Isn't that
Avengers
interesting?
and an alcoholic.
And the other biggie that happened this week, in Hulk number 180 in 1974, Wolverine had his first cameo appearance.
Guess what? We're going to talk about him today, too.
He was only in one panel, and most people consider this just a cameo. I'm throwing that in air quotes. I really don't understand why people value the next issue more than this one, but Hulk number 181, the one that would come out next month, is generally considered to be Wolverine's first appearance, despite him appearing 1 month prior. I don't get it. That's just what people do. They call it a cameo, but his first cameo appearance came in Hulk number 180 this week in 1974.
Wow. That was a big week.
Those are some biggies, yeah.
Those are not small.
What's really funny is I was going through
imagination.
When I was doing this, I'm like, there's a lot of minor stuff. And then I started getting towards the end of this. I'm like, oh my God, there's massive things.
Wow. They kind of buried the lead a little bit, didn't they, on your research?
It took a minute, yeah. But yeah, I mean, Professor X, Magneto, Cyclops, Jean Grey, Angel, Beast, Iceman, those guys all premiered this week.
Back in the day.
Yeah, great times. But from there, need to look up a transition. Hang on.
Hold on.
Oh, you have one?
I can come up with one. All right. Just give me a second here. Ooh. From the Falcon to the Atlanta Falcons.
Those are things.
Yes.
Great.
You want me to do better?
No, that's fine. We're moving on to Jared's Sports Reports. Time to play a theme.
He's running down the middle by the 50. He's at the 30. Bare-chested. The guy is drunk, but there he goes. Oh, and they tackle him at the 40-yard line.
It's time for another Jared Sports Report.
Sports.
All right. So I know this segment's going to be hijacked by you and all of the... I didn't even bother looking at a lot of the NBA free agent news other than...
Oh, good. I'm ready for you.
I figured you would be. Other than Kemba Walker is coming to Boston, baby. And
there's even more. It's such a weird thing. I can't wait to talk about that. I'll wait. What else is happening?
Well, we'll talk a little other NBA free agent news. Kevin Durant has left the Warriors. He's going to the
Brooklyn Nets.
Brooklyn
Nets. Kyrie. They both
Kyrie
took less
went
than
there.
the max so they could get their buddy in there.
Yes. So they all went to, and the Knicks were like, oh, wait, what happened? Because they were there, and they were like, oh, they're all going to the Knicks. Wrong. Even the Knicks screwed this up.
It was so funny watching Stephen A. Smith, who I'm not a big fan of. He just does too much like yelling for the sake of being a talking
now,
head.
I'm telling you, and let me be clear.
Yeah, I don't...
How I feel about this situation that has come up.
He's like, this is the worst day in Knicks franchise history. I'm like, that might be extreme, but also...
Of all the things the Knicks could have done, and they didn't get it done.
I'm telling you, Max Kellerman. I was kind of happy to see him get knocked down a peg, but, you know.
So anyway, yes. Let's see, what else? Al Horford signed with Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Which they had kind of screwed that up because they delayed on the Kemba Walker deal, and it almost was going to bring Al Horford back.
Yeah, there was talk about like a 2 or 3 or 4 team
sign and trade deal. And
what's weird, the sign and trade, I don't fully understand all the rules of this because like doing a sign and trade gives you a hard cap, so their hard cap, and by they I mean Boston. Boston is hard capped at $139 million for the year, but then there's also mid-level exceptions, and I don't know if anyone fully understands it. To be honest, it's confusing.
No, I don't. It's again, that's why I don't really follow it. So you had those,
but yeah. So I mean, that's like the second worst team. I mean, if Al had gone to like the Lakers, but then going to Philadelphia. Also, I don't begrudge him at all because he's getting
paid
potential of like $100 million.
Yeah,
if they win a championship, and to be fair. Right now, as of recording, Philly probably looks like the most dominant team in the East. And if he wins a championship there, he gets an extra $10 million. I can't begrudge him for that. Like, good for him. Get your money. It's going to be the end of your career for a 4-year deal. Like, absolutely take it.
But also, they might look like the best team in the East on July 2nd. We also thought the Celtics were going to be the best team in the East this time last year.
Yeah, expectations are a bitch, aren't they?
I mean, you got your heart ripped out and stomped on.
No one knows what Kawhi's doing yet. I mean, by the time this comes out, maybe he's said what's going to happen.
Yeah, well.
Probably the Lakers. Probably.
They've cleared out room.
Yeah, there is a max slot for him. The Knicks also cleared out 2 max slots. How'd that work out?
Not well. They
got nothing.
Plenty of. They're pacing themselves.
But yeah, Brooklyn with Kyrie and KD. That's a biggie. Miami got Jimmy Butler, who's no longer with the 76ers. They got Al Horford instead. Golden State got D'Angelo Russell from the Nets. So there's no real, to the best of my knowledge, there's no real backup point guard for Kyrie right now. And I mean, Kyrie is the most watchable player in the league, but he's also gone through 2 teams and kind of burned every bridge there is. So there's kind of a point where you're like, this actually might be you. You might be the issue.
Do you know that person, like, and Sean Grande had a good tweet. I'm stealing it from him. Sean Grande, the voice of the Celtics on the radio. It was something like, if all you ever do is talk about all the bad roommates you have you ever wondered if you were the bad roommate?
Yeah, that's always one that I've gone with. Like, if you say everyone else in the room is an asshole, chances are you're the asshole.
Yes.
The weird one, Terry Rozier got $60 million for a 3-year deal in Charlotte. Good for his agent, because he does not deserve that.
Well, he got it.
Yeah, crazy. But so that was a sign and trade with the Celtics. So the Celtics are going to get Kemba Walker. They're going to give him a max deal. But then they gave up Terry Rozier. And Charlotte also is going to give them something else. It hasn't been announced what it is yet. So they're probably going to give up Rozier and a pick for Kemba Walker. That's one of the worst deals in history.
Yeah, Charlotte's getting hosed.
Michael Jordan can't manage a team, apparently.
Well, whatever.
I'm out of free agency talk now, by the way.
There, good.
No. Enes Kanter is coming from the Portland Trail Blazers.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to be the starting center.
Kind of fills up the front court a little bit.
Yeah, because they have, point guards and wings, but really,
I guess Taco Fall did well in his Summer League game.
Well, the Summer League doesn't start till Saturday, but yes, he did well in practice.
Whatever they were doing.
Yeah, he had some media availability, and basically every single question was like, well, you're tall.
Yep.
And he's like,
yes, I am.
Yeah, do you have anything else? Like, no, you're just...
How's the weather up there?
You're 7'6". That's taller than the average player and the average man. How do you get shoes? He's like, yeah, I'm tall. Do you have anything else? They're like, no.
Well,
how big are you?
Yes. Anyway, moving on to other sports. The Boston Red Sox played the New York Yankees, and the New York Yankees stomped. They gave a right good walloping over in London, the first Major League baseball game ever played in Europe.
So what's up with this? Are they trying to build out like?
I think they're just trying to
interest.
Well, they played some games in Japan. They've played games in Japan, although baseball is very, very big in Asia. So
I saw that the plane they were going over to was like a flying hotel with a big ass bar.
Oh yeah, there's some really nice planes to fly around in. So they went over there. They played 2 games in London, and the Yankees won them both quite handily. I think the first one was they scored almost 30 runs and still lost both those games. So the Red Sox are in trouble. The Yankees look pretty good.
Did they win last year?
The Red Sox?
Red Sox did.
They won the World Series last year.
What happened? So what happened in between seasons?
They lost a lot in the bullpen. They kind of try to recreate a little bit, but the bullpen is really a big issue. Pitching has been a big time issue for the Red Sox. Inability to maintain leads. They have more blown saves than anybody else in the majors this year. If games were only 6 or 7 innings, the Red Sox would almost never lose. They just can't close games out with the bullpen. Bullpen is terrible. And
any update on Ortiz?
No update on Ortiz.
Okay.
But then the big story: the U.S. women's national soccer team beat England in the semifinals.
USA.
They have now set the record for most consecutive World Cup wins, and they will be playing the winner of the Netherlands and Germany. Or Netherlands and Sweden? Let me double check that.
Weren't you saying that this was kind of the deciding series, the one that they just won?
Yeah, them and France. If they could get through those 2, it really put them in good position. But anything can happen. The Netherlands and Sweden play tomorrow, so they'll know. And then the final is on Sunday, rather. The end of the game with England was kind of chippy. The English got a lot of yellow cards and a couple of red cards. I guess they're still upset about 1776 and 1812.
Weird.
I thought that was a little clever.
I understood what you were going for.
I know, yeah. It's freedom, baby.
4th of July.
Let freedom ring. So, beating England at their game. Yeah. So, the women's team on their way to potentially defending their World Cup title. That's it for sports reports. That's all I got.
I don't know what else is happening in the world.
No, not really. It's kind of that midsummer. It's really, you've got the All-Star game for baseball coming up. Really, that's it. There's like a few days of the year totally where there's no professional sports. And there's 2 solid ones that there's no professional sports. You know what those 2 days are?
How does I was told this. There are only 2 days. What is it like? I don't remember.
The day before and the day after the Major League Baseball All-Star game.
How's that? Do they actually try during that game?
A little bit. They get whoever wins that team, the team American League or National League gets home field advantage for the World Series.
Well, the other reason is whenever I watch the All-Star NBA with my wife, she just starts screaming at the TV. She's like, "Why is no one trying? This is boring."
The NBA All-Star game is probably the second biggest joke besides the Pro Bowl.
Yes, Pro Bowl is also boring.
Yes.
But she just yells at the TV. She's
Well,
like,
they don't
why?
they don't try to the very end when they're like, "Oh yeah, there's money on the line. I get significantly more money for winning than losing this game."
Yeah.
That's it for Jared Sports Reports.
That's it for sports.
Yes.
We'll see where the NBA lands. I mean, this is only the first 2 days. So they changed the starting time. It used to be midnight on July 1st, but they changed it to 6 p.m.
You know
on
why?
June 30th. So people could actually stay awake
No.
because there was a bunch of tampering.
No.
That one's true. Actually, both of the things I said were just true.
Yeah, but you got to really put it all together. You do it at 6 p.m., you can do a primetime show, and you can get all kinds of viewership.
Yeah.
You take over that news cycle.
What does Woj have to say?
Why do you think the NFL draft moved up a day and had one night that was just the first round only?
I didn't know that happened.
Oh, a
I
few years ago,
believe you.
yeah. And they do it not on cable TV, on ESPN. They do it on ABC. They do it on national television in prime time.
I'm trying to learn more about the NFL. My wife really likes it, so I've been digesting a lot of information.
See, there you go.
A lot of podcasts.
Good job. I'm proud of you.
Well, it's just to learn more for,
Make the wife happy.
Yeah, so I know what I'm talking about.
Listen, you're better off not knowing more about the more you know about the NFL, the less you know. All right, let's move on to the reading corner.
Okay. As we do for every 4th of July, we are going to do a Captain America story to celebrate America.
It takes place in Massachusetts. That's pretty American.
It takes place in America.
New York and Massachusetts.
But we're going to do that time that Captain America was a werewolf. And apparently longer than I thought he was a werewolf. So we're going to move on to Jared's Reading Corner.
It's Jared's Reading Corner.
Wow, was this something to digest?
So Capwolf is what he is referred to.
Yes, but it didn't happen right away. So remember that time that we listened and talked about the Spider-Man and
Book
Man-Wolf?
and record set.
Yes, Spider-Man versus Man-Wolf.
This is many episodes ago where we listened to a record of Spider-Man fighting the Man-Wolf.
And it comes back full circle.
Who the hell knows what that episode is called? Probably it's like Spider-Man Book and Record Set or something.
Man-Wolf.
But yeah, Man-Wolf, John Jameson himself. His name is my name too.
You made that joke many times.
I think I just came up with it and I like it. It was a good joke.
It's an okay joke.
Yeah, it's not my best, but
No, you've done better.
Still a solid joke, I think.
So anyway.
Whatever. He got a gem in his throat and it made him a man-wolf.
The moonstone or something like that.
Yes.
So anyway, we have Captain America hanging. Well, it starts with somebody running through the woods, which I believe was J. John Jameson, J. Jingleheimer Schmidt, dude, man. And he's attacked by a werewolf.
I know.
And then Captain America's like, "Where's my personal pilot, John Jameson?" I don't know.
Look, this came out in the 90s. Apparently, John Jameson was Captain America's personal assistant. I'm going to say my knowledge of 90s Captain America is...
He was a werewolf. That's about all you know.
Basically non-existent.
Anyway,
I learned a lot tonight, though.
Things are happening as they have want to do in the Avengers. There's some guy. It's kind of like a side story that really didn't register with me. The guy was locked, like frozen in the ice. Big burly kind of lumberjack. Brawny.
D-Man who took over Daredevil's original costume and Wolverine's mask. D-Man, he was
lifting some serious weights in the gym with Captain America, though.
He is a D-list character.
Yeah, he is.
D-Man.
Yeah. The reason I skipped over his panels. So Captain America goes on a mission as he has want to do to find missing John Jameson, and he takes him to Massachusetts. And along the way, he was going to get Doctor Strange, but ends up with Dr. Druid. Remember Dr. Drew from the 90s? He was the guy that talked about sex.
I guess.
With Adam Carolla. Sex Line? Was it Sex Line, or was it?
The only thing I remember with Adam Carolla would be the Man Show.
Well, he also did that, but Dr.
on.
Drew was kind of like that popular in the 90s. He's like a sex therapist or just a general therapist, but a lot of people talked about Loveline. It was Loveline that they were on MTV.
Cool.
Who else was on that with Adam Carolla? Wasn't Jimmy Kimmel was on that?
Jimmy Kimmel was on the Man Show. I don't know if he was on anything else with them.
No, but yeah. Jimmy Kimmel was also the host of Win Ben Stein's Money.
I couldn't tell you that. I'll believe you, but I'm not going to...
He asked the question when Ben wasn't asking the questions. It was like, yeah, he was on Win Ben Stein's Money too.
I'm not going to guarantee this, but I'll say that sure. That's
okay.
the thing.
So anyway, as things progress, They find out also Wolverine is up there for some reason. Wolverine's just kind of
Just getting a fingerful of sniffitude.
blood. Yeah, it's weird. So lo and behold, Captain America gets attacked by a she-wolf and not Moonraker. That's a Moonwatcher.
That's a terrible
James Bond movie.
It's one of the worst.
Was it Moonwatcher?
Moonraker.
No. The person in the comic.
Oh yes, it was. Yeah, Moonwalker.
Yeah, Moonwalker comes floating in.
But my favorite thing is Captain America is going after this werewolf. He's like, maybe this is John Jameson, and then he goes, "Oh no, it's not. That has boobs. It can't be a man. It has boobs."
I believe he said it was thinner and more feminine. I don't think he said it has boobs.
He 100% said it has boobs.
Hairy boobs.
Yeah, they were hairy.
Yeah, exactly. There
What are
you
you gonna
go.
do with those?
Yeah. So come to find out, this community in Massachusetts has been taken over by Draymond Green.
Yes, Draymond Green.
No, Dreadnought. What was the guy's
I
name?
don't remember his name. The
D-bag.
Yes, a wolf sorcerer.
Yes, it's pretty much what he was. Has taken the Moonstone, which was destroyed.
The main villain of Dr. Druid. I was like, Dr. Druid has a main villain?
Yeah, I guess he does. So he has reassembled the Moonstone and is using it to generate a serum with some doctor lady. I can't remember her name either. Because let's be honest,
Dr. BDSM, because that's what she wears.
Okay, whatever. You can't say that.
I can say whatever I want.
I mean, you can say whatever you want. It's America, Freedom Week. So anyhow, Wolverine gets transformed. He kicks Cap's ass.
Well,
Cap is captured.
Wolverine doesn't transform for that long because he has his healing factor, so he untransforms.
Yes. So they make a serum out of his healing abilities.
There really is a BDSM doctor here, though. Like, she is wearing just, like, leather and spikes.
And she's tying people down. It's very weird.
Yeah.
So meanwhile, Dr. Druid gets his ass captured because he got attacked by the werewolf and had to heal. And then Captain America also gets captured, and Dr.
BDSM.
I'm not going to say it. I'll allow you to do it. Transforms Cap into a werewolf.
Well, kids, if you want to know what BDSM is, strap yourselves in because that's what you're in for.
Oh
Come
my,
on.
No.
That joke is fantastic.
You've been sitting there thinking about that for the
I
last...
just made that up on the spot.
So Captain America now speaks in short, choppy, red bubble sentences because he's a werewolf, apparently.
He's a Capwolf.
Yeah, he's Capwolf. His shield is now shiny thing.
Why not?
Well, it's shiny. Gets his attention. Really devalues the brain of a dog in this whole deal.
Also, he doesn't look like a werewolf. He does just look like a
dog.
friendly dog.
Yeah, still has his mask and some clothing on.
He's not that vicious.
All the other werewolves are buck-ass nude, and he's here with his
he seems like a good boy.
He was a good boy. I mean, his truth and justice were fighting through his...
I'd rub his belly.
And then he would bite you and you become a vampire.
Be a werewolf,
Whatever.
probably.
Maybe a werewolf. So then this kind of plods along for a little bit, and...
There's a werewolf. There's a Captain America. There's a Wolverine who can't escape his very basic confines.
Yes, and then you have Dr. Druidia, whatever. No.
Draymond Green himself.
Slits Dr. Druid's throat in a ceremony, turning him into Starwolf.
Which looks like eternity. He's a werewolf, but he has the solar system inside his body.
That's pretty badass art, I will say that.
It comes out of nowhere.
But it's really cool.
When I was reading it, because I've just been like skimming along, I'm like, okay. I'm like,
Like,
wait,
whoa.
hang on.
Look at this guy.
Hang on. Take 20 steps back. Where did this come from?
I thought it was spectacular myself.
It is interesting. It's just out of nowhere.
So,
Space Wolf.
Space Wolf.
That's what he calls himself.
Space Wolf and Cap fight, and they don't really do too well. Oh, Cable shows up for whatever reason. He's
he
there.
shoots some things.
Yeah, he's like, oh look, it's a den of men wolf.
Because Rain is there. Rain Sinclair, one of the New Mutants, who is also a werewolf, she speaks in weird accents phonetically. And then Captain America beats Space Wolf, and Wolverine goes, "You should probably keep being a werewolf."
Yeah, and he
that surprised the hell out of me.
We don't know what happens because we didn't read the epilogue.
No, but I'm never
guessing he is unwerewolfed.
He is eventually, but I've never read this before, and I was shocked to be that they were like, "Yeah, just keep being a wolf."
He was a werewolf for a long time, like three issues.
That's the 90s, man. They're just like, just keep being a werewolf. We're gonna, get a.
People are doing some serious drugs right now. They're gonna buy into it.
In the 90s?
Why not? I don't know.
I mean, if the Matrix taught me, I think it's mescaline.
Some peyote?
They didn't say that in the Matrix.
Oh, anyway.
But I mean, we have Dr. BDSM, but before she's even wearing her like leather stuff, she's wearing a skin tight mini dress.
Really?
Why are you saying really? You supposedly read this. So did I supposedly.
Yeah, we both skimmed it.
It was a rough read.
It was not easy. It was not smooth. Yeah, I'm going to say that, I mean, for the novelty of Captain America being a werewolf, maybe worth the read, but it was just kind of like, it was very difficult to...
It's one of those things that this was dumb in the 90s, and it keeps on getting brought back, and even Sam Wilson, who becomes Captain America, became a werewolf before this, and he becomes a werewolf after this when he's Captain America. I would honestly just live with the novelty of knowing that Captain America became a werewolf, and don't read it. But to be fair, for as 90s as this is, the art it doesn't go full 90s.
No, the art was pretty good. The art felt 80s-ish.
I wouldn't go that far, but it doesn't go full 90s. And you probably know what I mean by that. It doesn't go all the way.
Never go full 90s.
Different thing.
So.
That's also a fantastic movie. What a funny movie.
Oh, Tropic Thunder?
Yeah, great movie.
Oh, fantastic movie.
Just a great comedy. So weird that Ben Stiller just got like randomly jacked for that.
Ben Stiller's underrated. Anyway.
But I guess that'll do it. Captain America was a werewolf one time, and then he kept being one. And I didn't really expect him to keep being one, but he was for some reason.
Well, from there,
I can't imagine it's going to go on for much longer.
We can only go upwards. It's letters to the editor time.
Lot of questions, number one. Damn few answers.
Here's another one of your letters to the editors.
Make it so.
Hey, how's it going? Here's a letter.
I like letters. Mail's here.
If you want to reach us to ask us your own questions, because we are always on the edge of being out of them. There have been a couple of times where I've been like, oh, we have a comfortable number. Those are few and far between. If you want to ask us a question, and I implore that you do.
We'd love to bring back the mailbag show. Just a whole Editor's Note mailbag.
We did that for one episode, and then we did that kind of for the 100th. I also know what we're doing for the 200th.
It's so far away.
It's not that far away, and if we get an interview, that'll just be a bonus, but I know exactly what we're going to do for the 200th.
I'm excited for it.
You shouldn't be.
Oh, no.
There's going to be some pre-work in there.
Oh, God.
I'll tell you about it after.
All right.
Because I know there's a couple things we're doing, and one of them will involve some ahead-of-time work. But whatever. So what are we talking today? When Marvel Phase 4 starts after Spider-Man, who will be the main characters now that Captain America and Tony Stark are kind of out of it?
It's going to be Spider-Man.
I agree.
And
it could be a short segment, apparently.
Yeah. It's going to be Spider-Man, and it's going to be... It's not going to be Thor.
No, I think he'll go to a more supporting role.
Maybe Captain Marvel?
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of agree with that.
Yeah.
I think Captain America, Sam Wilson, Captain America is... If I had... Instead of maybe a top 2, if I were going to do a top 3, I'd probably say Spider-Man, Captain Marvel, Captain America. All the captains.
Do you think Anthony Mackie can carry a franchise like that?
Yeah, why not? He's good. I've never...
No, I mean, I'm not saying I don't think he's good. I think that'd be really one of the first times he's been asked to do that.
To be a leading man? Yeah, but I've never seen anything...
Not just a leading man. He's been a leading man, but to be like...
Has he been a leading man? When has he been a leading man?
He was one of the leads in Pain and Gain.
Yeah, I would say Spider-Man and Captain Marvel are probably the biggies. I would think Sam Wilson is going to be kind of your number 3.
It'd be cool if it were Ant-Man, though.
I don't think it will be. I think he's a fun supporting player. He's the guy who's going to give you your exposition.
Fair enough. He was the point of view character for the first part of Avengers. I liked it.
Yeah, that was fun. That was a lot of fun.
Yes.
I have not seen the new cut that they did.
I've heard mixed feelings about it.
I guess what it is one of the Russo brothers gives an intro at the front of it and says, hey, stay around till the end in the post-credits. And then there's an unfinished scene where the Hulk saves some kids, but it's just like a previous scene more than anything, where Ruffalo will voice a thing saving children.
Okay.
And they do a preview of Spider-Man Far From Home, which is out already, so that's pointless. And they do a tribute to Stan, which I did see on YouTube. I snuck that one on YouTube.
Good for you.
It's sad.
Oh.
Anyway. It's good, but it's sad. You know how they end it? I'll give you one guess, because I don't want to give you many guesses.
They say Excelsior.
No, but that's close.
What does he say?
They end with a text.
Ah.
Want to take a stab at the text? After
Love You 3000?
That is exactly what it is.
That's cheap. It's a low blow.
It's about a 5-minute thing, and then they end with, we love you 3000. YouTube, baby!
All right.
All right, that's probably it. You have a new podcast.
I do. First of all, we'll talk about this one. If you're a fan of the show, like this show, want to help us out, go to patreon.com/editorsnotecomics. $1 a month gets you this show a whole day early. Plus, it gets you Patreon exclusive podcasts where Zach and Emily review, and spoiler free, I might add, new editions of Buffy, Angel, and Firefly.
Just one of those before you got here. So there's a brand new one already up.
Just waiting for your Patreon dollar.
It is. And there's a reason those will never, ever, ever be released to the public, and this is one of those. This is one of those ones where I'm happy there's a paywall behind it.
Patreon money.
I yell at some things.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Also, $5 a month, you can be a Duke or Duchess of the podcast. Get your voice on your very own Editor's Note Comics podcast sounder from Josh, our sound guy. Anyway, also... you can visit Zach at 210 Water Street in Hollowell. You can also find him online, editorsnotecomics.com. He's also on Facebook. Occasionally dabble. You okay there?
I hit the bell with my
glass. Say that, yeah. He also dabbles occasionally on Instagram, and he's
not particularly
becoming much more Twitter. Have you hit 10,000 tweets yet on Twitter?
I don't know.
Oh, anyway. So you can find him in all those places. You can find me on...
I do like tweeting. Tweeting is fun.
Tweeting is fun. It's perfect for you. It's short.
Yeah.
It's microblogging.
I try and have a fun time on Twitter.
You can find me on my other show, because Zach had 2 shows, so I had to go get a second show of my own. At the Coach's Room Podcast. Find us on Stitcher and Podbean. We should be on iTunes, and we come out every other week. And I'm on Twitter at Junior Rich.
And you learn to edit yourself where you're like, I say a lot.
I do say a lot, apparently.
No one else knows.
Now the people know.
Because I make you sound like a fast-talking man. Stop pointing finger guns at me. Next week.
Pew, pew.
It's already out, but who cares? Because this was our 4th of July show. Spider-Man Homecoming. You've already all seen it.
No, it's Spider-Man Far From Home.
Whatever. Spider-Man, he goes to Europe.
Spider-Man European Vacation.
It is. That's exactly what it is. They're following that format.
I like it.
What's next? What's after European Vacation?
Christmas Vacation.
That's what we're going to get next.
Spider-Man home for the holidays.
Spider-Man goes to Christmas.
Whatever.
All right. We'll be back.
Bye.